Hello everyone and welcome to my first car flipping video. In this episode, I'll show you how I bought this filthy and knackered Mercedes A-Class, transformed it into a decent looking car again and sold it for significant profit. I traveled 800 miles round trip to collect this car, tackled various issues and sold it within days. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to subscribe for more car flipping videos. So I've been flipping cars for years. Started with privately buying cars on platforms like AutoTrader and Facebook Marketplace. However, due to rising scams, I shifted buying directly from auctions such as British car auctions for safer purchases and avoiding shady cars. Don't get me wrong, you'll still be exposed to dodgy cars on auctions, but if you do your research properly, then you will most likely end up with a good buy. Now, I wish I took my own advice when buying this Mercedes. Let me explain why. So while browsing on BCA, I found this 2014 Mercedes A-Class listed with 91,000 miles and a grade 4 condition with a cap price of £5,000. From the pictures, the car looked to be in decent shape and not much going for it. I quickly checked the retail price and went through some of the pictures. I then placed a proxy bid of £4,000 knowing it had a retail value around £6,900. 3 hours later, I got a notification that I had won a car. To my surprise, it was this Mercedes A-Class and I won it for a very low price. I'll let you know how much I paid for it in a bit. Although the price looked pretty good to me and it was way below my proxy bid, since I didn't do a proper look through everything, I knew there had to be something wrong with it, otherwise the car would have been way too cheap. So I went back on the listing and I went through the details again, and I soon discovered that I didn't see a tiny piece of information right at the bottom of the listing that it had water ingress issue. And to add more misery, it was located in Livingston, Scotland. That's a different country and 7-hour drive from my house. Anyway, moving on, the mechanical report indicated all green for the engine and gearbox, but there was a low coolant warning and a worn tire. So apart from the water ingress issue, I didn't see any other reason why I wouldn't be able to drive it all the way back home. Given this, I decided to retrieve the car myself. I booked a flight to Edinburgh. This way I would be able to drive it back on the same day. So the next day, I booked a taxi to Luton Airport and boarded my flight within the hour. However, the weather didn't look too great and there was fog everywhere. But luckily, that didn't cause any issues and we landed in Scotland without delay. The whole flight was very quick and took only about an hour. Upon arriving at BCA, I quickly got my documents from the reception and was told to wait outside as someone was bringing the car out for me. Now, my stress levels were super high at this point and I really wanted the car to be problem free since I was about 400 miles away from home. So seeing the car being driven out instead of being pulled out was a huge relief. It seemed to be running great, but I quickly wanted to switch it off due to the low coolant issue we had on the report. Before checking any coolant levels, I quickly wanted to check for signs of flood or water inside the vehicle. Fortunately, everything was dry inside. I didn't see any flood lines or any sign of mold, but the interior smelled really unpleasant and I couldn't figure out why. It was not smell of dampness, it was completely something different. So at this point, I was really happy that I didn't see water inside the vehicle. Apart from the damaged carpets or the floor mats at the back, all the seats, the footwells, everything was dry. So I didn't understand why they put water ingress on the report. I believe this was the main reason why I bought this car for so cheap. So I began to take a look at the engine bay. My focus was drawn to the coolant tank straight away and I found the coolant to be completely empty, suggesting that we had a leak. So I found a few bottles inside the vehicle, filled it with water. I started the car and monitored for leaks. I was hoping it would be a small leak as these coolant tanks suffer from small cracks and leak coolant over time. After 5 minutes of letting the car idle, it seemed like it was holding the coolant and I couldn't see anything dripping from under the engine. That was amazing news for me, and on top of that, the engine bay looked clean, there was no signs of oil leak and the car was idling beautifully. So at this point, I knew that I could drive it all the way back to London, but I wanted to stop at certain points on the way just to make sure the coolant level was okay. Based on my checks and the car being okay to drive, I took the risk and began my 7-hour drive back to London. But first, I needed to stop for fuel as I certainly needed a full tank to make it back. The car drove smoothly on the motorway with no issues at all. The only thing I noticed was the brakes were a little bit grinding, and that's normal for any car that has been parked for over a few weeks. So I carried on driving all the way back to London, and the scenery from Scottish countryside made the journey enjoyable. Now at this point of the video, I would like to keep two separate spreadsheets of things to do to get the car to a selling point, and also a money invested spreadsheet to keep tabs on everything we spend. On this note, I think it's time for me to tell you how much I exactly paid for this car. The winning bid at auction was £2,550. Now obviously there are auction fees associated with every purchase. The total fee came to just over £2,900. Now we can go back to our money spent page and add the purchase price, along with the taxi that I had to book to the airport and also our plane ticket, which all came to £95. Then I had to take another taxi to BCA Livingston, which was about £20. And then on our way back to London, I had to fill up the tank, which cost me about £60. Now we will come back to this page if we spend more money along the way, but for now, let's get back to the video. So it is the next day. I was going to check the coolant last night, but I got home so late and it was such a long journey. I just didn't have any energy left to do that. So I'm going to check it now, see if the coolant level's gone down. Alright. No way. This makes 0 sense. That you can see there, that was there yesterday as well from previously. Doesn't even come off, but we did about 400 miles coming back from Scotland, and the coolant level is still the same, as you can see. So why did it not have coolant in the first place? I'm going to do some further investigation later on just to see why that was empty. Maybe there's a crack in the expansion tank, which is quite common for these ones. Underneath there would be, like right there would be a small crack, losing coolant over time, and I think that was the case for this car, having been parked in BCA for maybe a couple of weeks, and that drained all the coolant over time. But for now there's no leak that I can see, and as I said before, this is all from previous. And also yesterday I put water in the tank instead of coolant, so when I do maybe replace this, I'll refill it with red coolant all the way to the top. For now I'm just gonna focus on the interior and the exterior and give them a nice clean, maybe polish the paint as well. Will definitely need polishing because you can see all these scratches that can be easily buffed out, and then all this yellow brake dust. We need to go to Euro car part, grab some product, and then take it from there. Also, I just wanted to mention the fact that this car managed to achieve an average of 60.1 mpg doing 405 miles, which is quite impressive. So I need to address this because I don't know what is this, but it looks like this is burned through, so that is hardened. Oh, I didn't even see this. Wow, that is busted. So I'm gonna have to probably get new carpets. That's a shame because these are AMG carpets, and the ones I'm probably gonna get are not AMG. So the first thing I wanted to tackle was the wash, polish and interior detailing. So I started by doing the wheels, as they were in a very bad state. They were covered in dust and grime and whatever you want to call it. There was that yellow stain that was really hard to remove, but luckily for me there's this amazing wheel cleaner from Euro Car Part, and literally washes away anything on the wheels. But you have to let the chemical sit on the wheel for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you can go in with a brush and agitate everything and it will come out easily. The front wheels were a little bit more dirtier than the rear wheels, and I had to use the product twice on them, but at the end they came out as good as the real ones. Moving on, I wanted to clean the engine bay as well, but I wanted to first cover the ECU unit as it is sitting directly behind the front bumper. So I just put a plastic bag on it and making sure that I do not directly wash this area. So just finished washing. As you can see, it's still wet. I haven't dried it, and I'm not going to do that for a reason which I'll let you know now. But look how clean the wheels come out, and it's all thanks to this product. The exterior paint, it looks nice because it's wet, but you can probably tell there's so many stone chips, which we can address later. And yeah, I'm really happy with how well the wheels come out. And now I'm gonna use this. So this is called a clay mitt. It's a form of a less aggressive clay bar which you can use before polishing, and it will bring the paint on the car really smooth and ready for polishing. So whilst it's still dry, wet, I'm gonna go all around the car with this and then rinse it one more time. We'll do the polishing stage. And if you're interested in this, it's literally for around £5 on eBay. Go get yourself something like this. But look, don't listen to me because I haven't even used it yet. I'm gonna use it now, see how well it does, because right now if I touch the paint, I don't know if you can hear it. Okay, quick update. So I just made it a little bit wet. I thought that's what I was going to use on the car, but clearly not. So this is the clay mitt. It's a bit rough, which is what it's supposed to be like, because it's going to get rid of all the dirt and grime that you can't see with your naked eye. So just quickly before I forget, we're going to go back to the money spent page and add the wheel cleaner for £12 and the clay mitt for £5. Alright, so I finished the whole car with clay mitt, and you can already tell it makes the paint so smooth. And I think it was on this door before I read my finger, it was making noise. There you go, nothing. I'm gonna start polishing the whole car. I want to show you some of the scratches, as you can see here. On that door you can see a lot of small. There you go. We'll come out with a buff, but I'm gonna have to do a lot of touch up on this door, on the wing, on the front bonnet. You can see there are a lot of small ones, but oh my goodness, it feels so smooth. And just quickly on the to-do list, we need to add the stone chip situation at the front, so I'm gonna have to do some touch-ups later on. Next, I just went ahead and gave the whole car a good buff, hoping that we can get as many scratches out as possible, as this is a black car and it's not very easy to do that. Now at this point my cousin kindly offered to come and help me, which was massively appreciated as I was already tired coming back from a 7-hour journey the day before. So he took over polishing some of the panels whilst I went to take some rest. Also, I just want to mention that by no means I'm a professional detailer or mechanic. I'm literally doing this as a hobby. If you see me doing something wrong, just remember that I'm using basic tools and I'm doing it in my driveway, so go easy on me in the comments. We just finished polishing and I'm really tired honestly, because that took minimum 3 hours. Luckily I still got sunlight, a little bit of it left, but I'm really happy with how the paint came out because it's very glossy, very nice. We do have imperfections still, it's not 100%. I mean, you can see it's, I don't know how well the camera shows it, but it's 10 times better than before. The front, same as the rest of the vehicle, very glossy and nice. You can see, I mean, you can see the whole house through the bonnet. That's how clear it is. Again, on this side, super clean, super nice. I think it's the hardest to make a black car look great because they show scratches the most. Tomorrow I'm gonna do the valet, so I'll see you tomorrow. Now, I just want to show you some clips from the interior. This car is not the dirtiest that I've dealt with before, but obviously it could benefit from a nice detail, and I believe everything will come out very nice and shiny after we've done with it. I'll be wet vacuuming all the seats as well, especially the driver and the front passenger, as they show stain spots a lot. But first I need to clear everything out of the car, and under the rear bench there was a lot of dirt hiding, so I'm glad that I inspected that area as well. So I've basically just finished the interior as well, valeting all the seats, under the carpet. It's a bit dark now, so you can't really see. It's a bit wet now still. The car's running with the heater on just to help it dry out a bit quicker, but the difference is crazy, honestly. You can see the reflection of this yellow light making the seat a bit yellow, but I promise you everything's been taken out of these beautiful seats. Dash and everything is really clean now, so it's essentially ready for pictures, but obviously I want to take pictures in better lighting, not in this lighting at all because you can barely see anything. Tomorrow I'm going to do another rinse, wipe the car nicely, do some touch-ups on these stone chips. I'll see what I can do with this coolant leak if it's still there. If not, then it's ready to go. Yeah, service maybe. We'll check the brakes, and if it needs doing anything, of course I'll do it before putting it on sale. So now the car is fully polished, washed and cleaned properly. The next thing I wanted to tackle was the stone chips at the front. I had some jet black paint touch-ups, so I didn't have to buy anything for that. I just went ahead and touched up all the small bits that needed paint, and also along the door jambs where they opened the door and bashed it into things, so that area cleaned up nicely as well. After that, the car was essentially ready for pictures, and while I had it very clean, I just thought might as well just take the pictures now. And then I added some tire dressing and found a nice spot with good lighting, and I took some really nice pictures. And then I headed back home and advertised the car on Auto Trader. Also, before advertising, I checked the retail price, which came around 6,500. I didn't obviously want to ask for retail because I'm not offering warranty. This is being sold as seen and privately, so I decided £5,800 would be a decent price and reasonable. And then after the advert being live, I just wanted to double check the coolant again, just to make sure that we're not having any coolant leak. And then I realized that the coolant level overnight had gone down, so obviously we did have a leak. After a little bit of investigation, I decided to take the coolant tank out and check underneath for cracks, and long and behold, we had some cracks. So I ordered a new tank. We went ahead with the replacement. Alright guys, so this is the tank that I just removed, and this is the new one. So our leak is right over here. You can see all these micro cracks around this point, whereas on the new one there are no such cracks. So this is a very minor leak, and you will not be able to see it straight away. New tank was about £50, very inexpensive and very straightforward to fit back. And then once we are done with the fitting, I've got ready mixed coolant here, and then we will service the car afterwards. So the replacement of the tank was really straightforward, just a few clips and two pipes that go back into the bottle. I put everything back together and filled the tank all the way to the top and started the vehicle to see if the coolant was going down at all. So the car has been running for about 10 minutes now. The area is still a bit wet, so I'm going to let it dry and then double check everything later. The coolant's popped up all the way to the max. I don't think we should have any more coolant leak, but as far as I'm concerned, we've fixed the coolant leak and we don't have any more messages about popping up the coolant. So next thing, we're gonna service the engine, and we have an oil leak coming from the drain plug. So whoever serviced the car before, they probably didn't change the copper washer and they reused it, so we'll take care of that as well. So whilst I was already working in the engine bay area, I wanted to give the car a fresh service, change the oil, make it ready for the new owner. I must say the drain plug was really tight, and whoever did the last service on this vehicle didn't know how to do it properly, because they should never have tightened that plug by that much. It did take some strength from me to open it, but I managed to do it at the end. The oil filter replacement was very straightforward as well, so I took the old one out and put a new one with the O-rings, and then I fitted back to the car. I fitted a new copper washer to the drain plug and put it back all together. This car takes about 5.8 liters of oil, and I ordered fresh oil from Mercedes themselves, so I made sure that I put quality oil in the car before I sell it, and afterwards we checked the dipstick. Everything was perfect. The only thing that was left to do was the air filter, and that was very straightforward as well. I did order some floor mats on the same day I collected the vehicle, because I knew the ones that came with the vehicle were not savable. So after a few days they arrived and I put them in the car. Now at this point, we've done everything that we had to do to make this car ready for sale. We have fixed the coolant leak, we've washed and polished the paint, the interior has been detailed, the car has been serviced, we've replaced the floor mats, the stone chips are being sorted, and the car's been pictured and advertised and ready for sale. And now we can go to our money spent page for the last time and add £50 for the coolant tank, £78 for service kit and oil. I spent £5 on a copper washer. I paid £13 for the floor mat and £53 to advertise the car on Auto Trader. And if we add everything together, this car owes me £3,298.96 at this point. Now remember, at the beginning of the video, I was prepared to pay £4,000 for this car. And the fact that we got the car for such a cheap price and I didn't have to spend a lot of money on it to get it up to this point, I think I got myself a really good deal here. So after a few days of dealing with time wasters, people messaging and calling that they want to see the vehicle and not turning up, I finally had a genuine customer to come to see the vehicle, and they were really happy with the condition of the car. And I showed them that I serviced the vehicle, everything was in working order, and they were happy to take it there and then. And we know we listed the car for £5,800, but obviously after some back and forth, we agreed to sell the car at 5.5. And now we know what the car owes us, which is £3,298.96. And if we do some simple calculations, that will bring us to a total profit of £2,201.04. Now, I think this is a very healthy profit margin for me, and I'm very happy with the way this flip turned out to be. And now I would like to reveal the next car that I'm going to be flipping in the next video, which is this 2008 Lexus RX. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe, as I'm aiming to hit 10,000 subscribers in the near future. And you subscribing, liking this video and sharing it will help me achieve that goal a lot quicker. I appreciate you watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.